was the nighttime announcer there and the top 20 countdown announcer for a few years. That was one of the things.
And that sounds like fun. Did you meet a lot of people doing that?
Oh yes, met lots of people, lots of international stars and national stars, which was great fun.
And you would have had quite a few fans of your show.
Oh, well, at its peak, we had a few good listeners, yes, definitely.
And they were very loyal, dedicated listeners, weren't they, Paulie?
Yeah, they were. God bless them.
That's nice. They're all married with lots of children now.
Yes, apparently they are. Haven't heard from any since. They must have loved the show.
And what years did you survive KA, Bob?
I started at KA in 1968 and I left at the end of 1969.
And the highlight?
Well, on a night like this, I can't say leaving.
I'm Anne Dunderdale.
Anne Dunderdale. When did you survive KA, dear?
Oh, God, I can't remember. What was it, 19... Oh, Jesus. I was there 11 years and I left in 1986.
I was the only person that Blakey and Stu actually knew who was living in America. So all of a sudden it was up to me to do the Hollywood Gossip sessions. 1988 to 89.
And what are you up to now?
Marketing director of Completely Out of Radio. So I'm one of the smart ones.
I loved it, every moment.
And what are you looking forward to tonight?
Memories. Yeah.
What, just having some tomorrow, do you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You are Bruce Martin. How long did you survive 5KA?
About 33 years. How about that, 33 years, eh?
So how old you would have been, just a tot when you started?
If 17's a top, yes.
17. So you would have seen a bit over those few years?
A fair few people have gone through the place, yes.
So what's the highlight, do you think, of all those years?
The highlight would be, I think, going to FM. There you go, yeah.
Lois Grant, News Slant with Lois Grant.
Now, I was reading that program actually ran quite a few times during the course of a day, didn't it?
Yep, we ran about 4 or 5 times a day, and it changed, and I did it for nearly 3 years.
Excellent. What are you expecting from tonight, Lois?
Just to meet old friends and enjoy. I had the most wonderful time. When I came from Canada, this was my first welcome in broadcasting here.
Oh,
so
that's great.
It's my delight.
Yeah, Bill Clark, I was promotions manager in 1976 when we launched Ken Sparks and Don Lunn during that era there. So back in the mid-70s, great times.
And what a couple of characters, Ken Sparks and Don Lunn. Very interesting characters. Your favourite memory of Ken?
Oh, I think he was absolutely professional. We had a lot of fun doing sales promotions together. He was one of the few radio announcers that really got right behind sales promotions, which helped me as a promotions manager as I was at the time. No, he's a good operator.
So we'll let you move on, and I'll fix you up in the door. Thank you so much. And so we're going to wrap this up now. It's been fantastic. Let's go inside and see what's happening. You know, I like TV. I watch TV. I like reading about TV, I analyse TV, but I love radio. You know, the years I worked at 5KA, in the most part, were the happiest, most rewarding, enjoyable years in my whole working life. In fact, probably in my whole life. So when I thought about what I'd like to get back to catch up with my old workmates, the idea became a natural progression to get the whole of 5K together, to pay tribute to the radio station, everyone that worked in it, not just the announcers who so often get all of the credit and all of the attention. I've had a fantastic time putting this reunion together. It has taken hours and hours of work. Finding some of you people has been very difficult. Some of you have hidden yourself very well, but I've uncovered you, and many of you are here tonight. People have come from all over the world to be here tonight. One of the other great parts of putting this reunion together is it's given me a chance to work with radio legends, people I really admire in the industry, like John Vincent, David Day, John Dean, Pembo, Clarkey, all sorts of people that are real names in radio, and they've helped me so much in promoting the event for no reward to them. So I really thank them for their involvement. And one of the other legends of radio, who I think I can probably call a friend and I certainly enjoy working with, is our MC tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Vaughan Harvey.
Thank you, and it's great to see you here tonight. Tonight is a celebration of 5KA, and it's a tribute to all the people who have worked in the station over many years. Almost 75 years ago, 5KA had its beginnings at 51 Kintore Avenue at Prospect, just a few k's up Prospect Road here. And the licensee was the Transatlantic Wireless Company. They were actually manufacturers of radio receivers. And the interesting thing is they had to change the name of the company because the broadcasting authority of the day was not happy with it. And so they became Sport Radio. Sort of like an early 5AA, I guess, in many ways. And they concentrated on sport, on football, on cricket, and various other sporting codes. And so the history of 5KA goes back to 1927, March the 25th, 1927. And that's a long time ago. The full history of 5KA is available, if you haven't already found it, on the website. We're going to take you down memory lane tonight through the various years of 5KA, and we hope that you're going to enjoy this. And the 30s and 40s was an era that some of you here tonight probably won't remember, but many will. And I'd like to introduce to you someone who has been an icon in show business in Adelaide and indeed throughout Australia for many of those decades that 5KA existed. Would you please welcome Marjorie Irving?
You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
It certainly does, as far as I'm concerned.
And when two lovers woo, they still say
Time does go by for me, very fast. It was a very funny thing, but I came here tonight with lots and lots of memories, of course. But the thing I can't get over is that I didn't expect anybody else to look old. I'm the old one. I'm the oldest here, isn't that wonderful? I should have a gold medal. However, I would like to say that my years, over the years with radio, I was never employed by 5KA nor any of them. I never got onto the staff because I thought it was a good idea to be a freelance and then you don't get mixed up with the politics. And I still think it's a good idea. When I first went to 5KA, I knew nothing. I'd never seen a microphone. And somebody asked me, and I can't remember why or how, but they asked me to come and audition. I didn't know what for, and I just went and I thought, oh well. And I went, and whatever it was, I got the job. Well, the job was to play the lead in a serial, the very first serial that South Australia ever knew. And it was called The Mad Doctor. Now, I tell you what, it was mad, whatever else. I was the lead in it, and my name was Raylene. And I had this, the fellow that wrote it was called Frederick Thwaites, and he was later to marry that very beautiful woman, I can't think of her name now, but she's got her photograph or a oil painting in the Melbourne Gallery. Whatever was her name? Can you remember it, Bill? No. But anyway, he was a funny little man, but he wrote those books like Barbara Cartland, you know, and he made a fortune. And he was writing this serial, which he went on to Sydney and wrote a lot more. And he asked me to go too, but then by then I'd sort of got hitched up, so I didn't go, which is perhaps a great pity, perhaps not. But anyway, that was the very first, and the station then was run by the Jehovah's Witnesses, which I didn't know anything about anyway. And it was in Carey Street or Perry Street or something, in a building, I can't really remember where, but it was before it went down to the, where the mission was later. And we made this serial. It went for about 12 months, I suppose, and then the war broke out. And then, of course, there was all the fuss and bother over the getting off the air, and there were the rumours everywhere. And I didn't hear much more about either the Mad Doctor, Frederick Bates, or the serial. However, no doubt something happened. I don't know what. And then, of course, I went on to do many things with 5KA. I did shows of my own, which I wrote, and that was why As Time Goes By was played tonight, because I wrote a show called As Time Goes By for probably 2 or 3 years, and it was very successful. I used to pick a year, say 1914 or something like that, and I'd go down to the archives and look up what happened then, who run the football, or what the popular songs were, and so on. And 5KA were very generous, because I suddenly decided in 1961, after a long career with them, in and out, I used to come in, do the job and go home, which is always a good idea with radio stations or TV stations. And they told me that if I went abroad, they would furnish me with a little recorder, and I was to record every week and send it home for this show of mine. So I did that. Well, of course, some of the wonderful things that happened to me in 1961, I recorded, not all of them, but most of them. And one of them, or 1 or 2 of them, I thought I'd tell you about tonight. In New York for the first time, I remember that one afternoon I decided to go up and window shop in Fifth Avenue. I had a dinner appointment, and when I suddenly looked at my watch, I realised that I'd been too long, and I had to get a cab back to the pub where I was staying, which was the Algonquin, which is the actors' pub, of course, in New York. And I got in, and it was peak hour, and the traffic was absolutely frightening. And the man kept driving away madly, and I leaned forward, and in my best telephone voice, I said, "Excuse me, but would you mind telling me how many pedestrians get killed in New York each year?" "Not enough, lady, not enough." He didn't even turn his head. And another time, I sent that home on that recording. Also in France, I went up, why, I'll never know, to the top of the Eiffel Tower, which terrified me. And in the lift, which goes like that, you know, it's like a Meccano set. And there I was standing with an American officer of some kind standing in front of me, and my nose was on the brass buttons on his uniform. And I was so terrified, I said, "Oh my God, I'm terrified." He said, "You and me both." That's another thing. Those sort of things happened. And then when Yuri Gagarin came to London after the first man walking in, not walking in space, but the first broke the space barrier or something, I went out with my little recorder and I got all that down. And whoever it was in 5KA who was employed at that time, who wiped all those tapes, I could kill him, because they would be so marvellous now to go over and realise. Now, I'm told by Rick Palmer, very severely, that I must not go on and on. I could, of course, but I won't. But it's lovely to meet everybody. Bill Davies, Rex Heading, they were my mates. I worked with them, I fought with them, and I loved them. Okay, that's it. Okay, Rick, now you've got what you wanted.
The world will always welcome